Good morning, guys. We have made it to Malang on East Java by train from Yogyakarta yesterday. We spent the night at Mador Hostel, and from here we will be doing a 3-day, 2-night tour, which includes the best that East Java has to offer. The most beautiful waterfall, but also 2 really early mornings on 2 different volcanoes. And eventually we'll be dropped off on Bali, which is where we will spend the next bit of our trip. So the perfect package for us.
After arriving, we first had a bowl of rice and noodle soup around the corner from the hostel, and next door we had to do a quick medical examination to be cleared to sign up for the tour. This cost us a little over €1.
Price-wise, it kind of works out almost the same or almost even cheaper, considering that all the transportation is included, breakfast and lunch, the tours, and it'll make it so much easier other than having to pretty much organize it all by myself. So that is what we are doing for the next couple of days, and we are now having our included breakfast at the hostel before taking off to see the waterfall.
After having breakfast at 6 a.m., we were split between 2 vans and started the 2-hour journey to Tumpak Sewu. This translates to 1,000 waterfalls. Alright, after 2 hours of driving, we have made it to the waterfall, and right now it should be a 20-minute walk. First, maybe we'll go to the panorama viewpoint and then a 20-minute walk down the steps. You can rent water shoes if you don't have any with you yet. I have my Tevas on, so those are waterproof. They have good grip, so I should be fine. And then everything will get soaking wet, so we have a dry bag to put our stuff in, and we're just trying to bring as little as possible. We walked for a little bit before reaching the viewpoint, from where we enjoyed a fantastic view of the waterfall and the volcano behind it. What an epic view! After some pictures, a challenging hike leads you down to the waterfall. An endless amount of steps and wet feet later, we arrived at the bottom of this impressive waterfall. These steps were honestly endless. I've done a fair bit of steps before, but this was absolutely terrible. The waterfall is no less than 120 meters high. Did get very wet at the bottom of the waterfall, not half as much as I did in Mexico, and because it's so hot you dry up very quickly, as you can tell. To my surprise, we then continued walking through the canyon until we reached a natural pool and many more waterfalls. We went for a refreshing dip and spotted monkeys in the distance before climbing back up through the waterfalls. We had imagined the way back up to be a lot less fun, but we had an absolute blast. Eventually, we reached a cave right before making it to the end, and if you weren't wet already, you definitely would be now. Once we made it back up, we all had lunch before continuing our journey to our guest house for the night at the base of Mount Bromo. Wow guys, that waterfall was honestly incredible. I already knew that it would be super beautiful. It is just as beautiful as in the pictures that I saw before, and then the way back up along the cave waterfall and everything just made the experience complete for me. It wasn't just an Instagrammable stop that we did, but it really was an experience. And I had no idea about the second part of the waterfall at all before going, so it was a very good surprise. Then it took us 5 hours to get to where we are spending the night. We are all staying in a big dorm. We just had lots of snacks, even some marshmallows roasted on the fire, and also a delicious dinner, which for us today, because there was a lot of us, was included in the price. So great deal. We've had all our food included today. Tomorrow, or should I say tonight, we are getting up at around 1:30 a.m. and then we are making our way to the jeeps to then go visit the Bromo volcano and catch the sunrise. I am so excited. I cannot wait. I love volcanoes. I've seen many already. But this volcano is meant to be super magical and it will probably be very cold. It's already a lot colder up here. So we are preparing to wear all the layers tomorrow. Apparently you can buy and rent a lot of clothes once you're there as well, so we might have to do that. It'll depend on how good our layers keep us warm, and then we wait for the sun to rise and explore the crater. I'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning, guys. Sorry, the video is gonna keep going out of focus. There we go. We woke up at 1:30 a.m. this morning and we left by 2 a.m. Altogether, we went to pick up our Jeep and it took us about an hour, I think, to make it to the top of Bromo. We first got a free coffee. We are all duffled up. We are wearing lots of layers. You can also rent a jacket here. It's only 20, so a little over €1 to rent a jacket as well. Now we are just waiting. It's 4 a.m. now. We got a good seat and now we have an hour to wait until the sun rises. We really had a front row seat to watch this natural spectacle over what seemed to be a landscape on a different planet. The mountains were covered by a perfect amount of clouds, making it all look even more mystical and magical. We walked back to our Jeep, dropped off the rented coats, and had a quick pre-breakfast snack on the way down into the crater. After watching the sunrise, we have now driven all the way down into the crater, which was very much a traffic jam of hundreds of these little Land Cruisers. The exhaust fumes were just absolutely terrible, but we have made it down and now we are walking up to the crater rim of the volcano. Eventually we made it up and now we're on our way back down, but it was not at all the 25-minute walk in the park that they advertise it as. It's more like a 30-35-minute plow through the sand, as you can see, and the shit. And you're doing it with a couple of thousand other people and the smell is just disgusting. But the view is quite impressive, not gonna lie. We arrived back at the guest house where breakfast was waiting for us, and then we drove for another 5 hours again with an all-you-can-eat lunch along the way, thank God, before arriving at our nice hotel with a pool and private rooms for the night.
Good morning, guys, or should I say good night, because it is midnight 30 and we are about to go to the second volcano. It is our final day of the tour. After a pretty spicy climb yesterday, we are now in for an even bigger climb today, which we are kind of scared about, but I'm sure it'll be all right and it'll definitely be worth it. We will be seeing probably not the blue fire, but definitely the sulfur miners, the beautiful blue lake on top of the crater, and of course another sunrise. and then we will be dropped off in Bali later today. All right, let's get going.
Some snacks were waiting for us in the car, and then we drove to the base camp, where first we got another coffee, and you can also rent a headlamp, gas mask, or warm clothes if you need them. I went for this stylish one.
All right, we have made it to the base camp, and it is 11 degrees Celsius here, which means it'll be even colder on the top. I'm assuming I'll get warm walking anyways, but if we do have to wait there for a while, we did rent a coat for 50k, and you can buy woolly hats, which my partner has done. They are 30k, and then we should be getting a gas mask included in the tour as well. And then we will start hiking up pretty soon, I assume. And yeah, let's hope maybe we do get to see some blue fire. I mean, one day has to be the first day again, right?
It takes 1.5 to 2 hours to get from the parking lot to the Mount Ijen crater rim. The hike is at a high altitude and is pretty steep on a gravel underground. However, you forget all about your suffering once you see the world's largest acidic lake at the top.
We made it, guys. It took us an hour and a half. I think the altitude is what mostly made it difficult for me, especially yesterday. Today was a bit better, but the group was going really fast. Eventually, luckily, we made it. We made it to the top. We can go along the rim a bit further to maybe also have a view of the other side, just like off of the volcano. Right down there, that is where the sulfur is, and that is where the miners mine sulfur. It's a very dangerous job because the sulfur is very toxic. It is bright yellow as well, and it really, really smells. We are so lucky today that the wind is blowing in that direction, so we have a beautiful view over the lake from where we are. The blue fire at the moment, unfortunately, isn't visible because there has been an eruption, and ever since, people haven't been allowed to go down there, only the miners have been, so unfortunately we couldn't see the blue fire. But the view is still incredible, and the crater is much more impressive than the one we saw yesterday.
Going back down turned out to be just as challenging as the way up.
We survived, guys. We made it down. It was very slippery, very dusty as well. Maybe it would even be nice to have a mask. A lot of people were slipping, and we did go down quite slow, but eventually we made it, and it wasn't half as bad as I expected it to be.
We got our lunchbox to celebrate surviving and got back in the van for 1 hour to reach the ferry terminal. The slowest ferry on Earth took about an hour to an hour and a half, and a driver was waiting for us with lunch packages when we arrived on Bali.
Alright guys, after another 3 hours in the van, we made it to Canggu on the island of Bali. We are all the way south on the island. We are pretty much just passing through to make it to Lombok for our amazing Komodo tour. But first we have 2 nights here, so we'll have a look around Canggu and also probably rent a scooter to go to Uluwatu. So definitely subscribe if you want to see what we get up to next here in Indonesia, and if you want to follow along for my adventures in the Philippines. I hope you liked this video, guys. If you did, then give it a thumbs up, and if you do go on this adventure, I hope you have the best time. And then I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!